Are you ready? The Kornelia Stephanie Show. Wake up to love, your call to action. Join Kornelia as she empowers others to live heaven on earth. Kornelia teaches listeners how to be the authority over yourself, embracing your inner guru. Feel yourself uplifted into limitless expansion, integrating ease and grace in a changing world. This show will cover topics such as unconditional love, your physical body, how to be in extraordinary relationships, create financial and emotional wealth, embracing entrepreneurship in the new earth. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Kornelia Stephanie Show. It's an honor and a pleasure to be with you today. I'm excited because I have Dr. Mercado. How do I say your last name?
Mercado Marmarash.
Marmarash. I just wanted to make sure that I got that one right. How are you today? It's wonderful to have you here.
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Thanks for coming in. So you're here to talk to us about your journey and about the work that you're doing in the world and what it is that you want to say to humanity about health and healing. Is that right?
Yes.
Good. Well, why don't you give us a little backstory first on your background and let us know about what, your medicine is, because we're all medicine women, right? Medicine men as well. So what is your field of expertise?
Yes. So I'm actually a family medicine physician, but I'm also an ADHD life coach.
Oh, okay. Wow. ADHD life coach and family medicine. So what got you started there?
Yeah. So I always knew I wanted to help people. I think for most people who are healers, it's a calling that they have. And I think I always knew that. And I didn't realize I had ADHD until my first semester of medical school. At that time, how I was diagnosed, my roommate said, "Hey, it sounds like you are studying too much. You're studying 80 to 90 hours, and I don't know why you're not doing so hot. Could be that, English is your second language. It could be that you're anxious or depressed or pressure because you're the first one to go to school to do something like this from your, or because your dad has newly diagnosed cancer." And so I went and I got tested. I was told I had ADHD. Maybe most people would have seen that as like a relief because they now understood why they would forget things or why they would talk out of turn. Um, or why it's sometimes things that were boring to you, it seemed like you couldn't adult enough, right?
Yeah.
But for me it was something as a shame. It was a shameful diagnosis because to me I was the oldest and I was used to being the perfectionist, and to me having a diagnosis meant I was no longer perfect, and maybe people would think that I wasn't a good enough doctor or a good enough daughter. I don't know, I was making all kinds of things mean something that I shouldn't have made it mean. But at that point, I didn't know any better. I get on. I go on and I graduate and become a doctor. And then they tell me, "Hey, you should know better. You outgrow ADHD. You don't need medications." They take it away. I kind of try to do what I can for the next 10 years, meaning I love my patients, but you know, because I didn't have that time awareness, I would give everything in the room, and then I didn't have that extra stamina to do the notes or to do things that were in my mind kind of boring. So I would spend 20 to 30 hours outside of work trying to do those notes. It was love-hate relationships because I love my patients, but I hated the administrative part of it. But because I was so wonderful with my patients, it didn't matter like what came in the door with a family medicine. Like I wasn't bored because I didn't know what was going to come through the door. But it was still very tough for me to be able to do all the administrative stuff. So, fast forward, the pandemic hits, mental health takes front and center. You can't ignore it. I have a 2 and a 3 year old then, and then I'm driving them back and forth. And I thought I didn't realize I was living from a place of reactivity, like just reacting to whatever came and trying to turn off the fires. I didn't realize, that it was my inner critic that was keeping me going. And it was not a healthy thing because in my mind I helped like half-ass at everything, like mother, doctor, friend. Like I felt like I was never 100% present, but I didn't know what it was like to have self-compassion or self-care. And I think that's when I one day heard a podcast about um, female physicians doing life coaching. And to me, honestly, that sounded woohoo. I was like, what are they going to teach me to relax more? But, anyways, I went in with it an open mind. I was like, what do I got to lose? I realized that what I had to lose was all my inner negative thinking. And that would make the difference. I realized that
Wow.
I didn't have to be almost 40 to ask people for permission on how to set boundaries from a place of love, how to understand myself, the way my brain works. And so, what I'm here to offer today is that you need to make sure you trust yourself. If somebody or you feel like you're not working to your capacity, just go get checked, because sometimes the diagnosis of ADHD does not get made until the birth of a child, or until your kid gets diagnosed with it, or until you go through menopause. And it might be that you get labeled as anxiety or depression, but the thing is that emotional dysregulation is very linked to the executive function. So we all wake up with the ability to make decisions, but as we go throughout the day, the decisions can we can get decision fatigue. And that makes sense why some of us are reaching for sugar or coke or wine as a coping mechanism. Whatever the body needs, if it's low in dopamine, it might be because of the ADHD. So go get checked, because it could really change your life getting that diagnosis.
What how what is the test? What is the test that they use to?
Yeah, so that they have different tests. They have screening tests. They call the adult self questionnaire, and you can even look it up online. And they also, and then if have them make sure that they test you for anxiety and depression, all three, right? But usually what they'll ask you on there is if you've been kind of disruptive, like when you were a kid, or if you interrupt people, not because you're trying to be rude, it's because you're afraid that you're not going to remember what they're telling you. And sometimes females are harder to diagnose because we might be in the room, but our brain is somewhere else. And they're like, but you were looking straight at me when you were talking. But you're like, I was, but you were like thinking of something else. And so, and it's not uncommon, especially immigrants, because, there tend to be the people who are very, what do you say, adventurous and spontaneous. And sometimes they do think outside the box, which I think has been helpful for me, where you're stubborn. And so you have no time awareness, but at the same time you don't make it mean anything. And so now I've learned to use timers to give me some feedback. And in the last year and a half, when I didn't see any physicians who were talking about ADHD, that's when I decided to become a life coach myself and to help other physicians and medical students. And I actually do group coaching to teach them now how to be able to set time boundaries, how to do things from a place of love, self-compassion, self-care, exercise. Medicines work, but they don't give you the whole picture of the skills that you need to work in your own zone of genius. And now, going through all of this, I've become so much open to the realization that meditation and stretching and journaling and all that, it's different, and how emotions can be a way to it's just a compass. Most of us, anything we do is because of what we think we're gonna accomplish, right? Like, why do we uh try to eat healthy? Well, because we feel we're going to be like more accomplished, right? Or why do we read a book? Because we feel we're going to learn more. Why do we get married? Well, because we want companionship, right? So understanding that sometimes our emotions can be a reflection that it's not bad or good to have different emotions, because you need them, because it's appropriate to. But sometimes fear keeps us from, the fear of failure, the fear of disappointment keeps us from really saying what we want and setting boundaries. But they're not helpful, because when you say yes to those things, if you don't really align with you, at the end you're draining your energy, and you're doing it, but you're resentful that you said yes. So saying yes from a place of like you just feeling like you have to, at the end you're saying no to yourself. So you have to learn that self-neglect is something that is real. If you're not taking care of yourself, it's self-neglect.
So I love everything that you're pointing out. It's really about listening and tuning into what your actual daily lifestyle is about, and you saying to yourself, what is it that I need to do to make my life better? And like you said, you went and got tested and you found out that you were ADHD. Now you're doing coaching, group coaching. And so do you still see clients in your practice as well?
Yes.
So you're doing both.
Yes.
So do you have like a brick and mortar building, or is your practice online?
So my practice of family medicine, it's in person. It's in Texas. I'm employed by a physician, but my ADHD practice, it's all online. So the wonderful thing of COVID that has come about is that now, being able to talk to anybody anywhere in the world is so amazing. You could just do a Zoom call and you can connect with people. And yeah, I think while a lot of people have been obviously very stressed, and mental health has really put everybody, at their wits ends, I think it also has brought things to awareness, because maybe some of us were sub functioning, and then this new stressor like really brought it up, so you could face like, what are you doing, what are you not doing, what is working, what is not working, asking for help and realizing that that's a sign of strength, because nobody can do it by themselves. And even though somehow society has taught us that we should be able to, but there's strength in numbers. And sometimes just saying things out loud minimizes the shame and how crazy it feels in our brain. And then when you hear somebody else say, well, me too, let me tell you a story, and you're like, what? I
Yeah,
thought that was just my brain. And then you start to see the humanity of it, and how our brains sometimes are just meant to keep us alive, and they tell us things that are not helpful at all, and they are opinions, but our brain has led us to believe that they're facts, and some of those things are not helpful until you evaluate it with either a therapist or a physician or a coach, because there doesn't matter what you try, whether you try acupuncture, whether you try it doesn't matter. You just have to be open to find what is going to align you and make you
yeah,
feel whole.
that's so good. And I'm so glad that you came on to talk about this today, because I bet a lot of people are suffering from this. And like it happened for you, you were listening to a podcast and all of a sudden, boom, the light bulb went off and you started putting the pieces together. And here we are today. You went and got tested and you got certified in life coaching, and you learned a whole lot more about your own self-care, and now you're helping others. So where is it that people can find you right now to start the conversation with you?
Yeah, so of course, now, like you said, we have to be out there. So if they want to go to my Instagram, I'm at Beyond ADHD Life Coach.
Mm.
If they want to hear my TikTok videos, I'm at Doctor underscore ADHD underscore coach. And then I do have a podcast as well, and it's also Beyond ADHD, a physician's perspective. And if they would like to go to my website, I'm at ADHD lifecoach.com, and I'll send you all those links, because I know I said a lot of information there and it's a mouthful. But you know listening to some of those TikTok videos, because they're short, they're purposely meant to give you the highlights and move on.
Yeah, yeah. Definitely want to get the links. Actually, it would be great if you could, on this Facebook, because this is going live to my Facebook page, if you could just go into my Facebook and put those links underneath, that would help a lot to the people that are watching right now and that just want to click to it, right? And
Yes.
then the other thing that we're going to do is we're going to take this podcast and we're going to probably within the next week and a half to 2 weeks, we're going to load it up to 50 plus media outlets as well. We're going to partner this up with some other videos, because these are all short stories of hope that inspires people to, that they can change their life, and that there is hope, and that there's possibility, and that we all, we're all here to support each other, and that's what you're doing so great. So I'm so glad that you came in. Do you want to give us your website one more time before we close out this version of the show today?
Sure. It's ADHD-lifecoach.com.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Diana. It was wonderful to have you on today, and we're going to see you all again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Kornelia Stephanie Show, Stories of Hope. I have a beautiful guest here with us today, and that's Kristin Fitch. Welcome to the show, Kristin.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Yeah, so I just want to introduce you to the audience and let everyone know that you are an online business coach. You're a marketing technologist who has over 20 years of experience working in the online space, from building the brand that you co-founded, Ziggity
Zoom, yes.
Ziggity Zoom, which has reached over 10 million parents and teachers over the years, to helping and teaching businesses and solopreneurs how to use their online presence to grow their audience and income. Wow, that's wonderful. So is that still going strong for you?
Yeah, so I have run my own businesses. I've worked for other companies, in full-time capacities. And then I also do encouragement type writing, and I have my podcast. But absolutely, the key, it's right. It's getting in front of our audiences so that we can have influence. So absolutely.
Yes. And so basically being online, this is something that's been easy for you because you've been online. So do you do a lot of virtual speaking online as well?
Over the years, so I'm getting back into that again because I had taken a full-time contracting position. I just ended that last year. So absolutely, what I love is that now everyone, since obviously everything going on in the world, is now all doing online speaking, whether you've done it before or not. So yes, definitely. And I love that it connects people all around the world, in such a lovely way.
Yes. So what is it that you're excited about now? The work that you're doing now. Before we came live, you were mentioning that you're doing a lot of inspirational writing and also in the ministry work. And what is it that you're engaged in right now that you're passionate about, and then what you want to share with our audience today?
Sure. Yeah. So two of the main things, both are on the podcasting platform. One is my main podcast is called Building a Life You Love. And the other one, which is a smaller bite-sized podcast, is Spark of Faith, which is just inspirational. And there is a little bit of scripture in there, but it's just, how do we get through life and be more hopeful and spread more love? But both of those, the end game is, how do I help people live a life of more abundance? How do I help them really define life on their terms so that they're in more alignment with themselves? And hopefully they can make an income in a way that just feels good for them, and that they can set a schedule up that works for themselves, their family. Because so many people, you've heard about the Great Resignation, but so many people aren't happy, in their positions because they're doing the same thing day in, day out. And it's not something that really aligns with them. So that's how I want to help people. And that's how I'm using my shows to do that.
So you're doing several podcasts. So where can people tune into those podcasts?
Sure. So they're available on all podcasting platforms. So whether it's Apple or Spotify or Google, you can go online to my website. They're available there as well, KristinFitch.com.
Good. And so you're offering these inspirational podcast messages. And then do you also work with people, in groups or one-on-one?
I do. Yes, I do both. So, I have different programs. I have one that I'm launching actually this month, but basically it's a combination of things. So it's partly encouragement, and the support people need. And then it's also the strategy and tactics, how do we get structured and organized in all of, online and really amp up what are we good at and how can we use that resource. So I do both, actually, group and one-on-one. Yes.
Good. And so as far as the program that you're launching now, which one is that going to be? Like, what is that? What's the end result that people are going to experience when they go through your program?
Sure. So basically it's around the encouraged life, but the idea is that I want to help them work less hours and accomplish more so that they'll have more impact and more income. So it's going to be about having that accountability with me and getting the support where they need it instead of necessarily going through specific modules. I'll have some of that, but I want it to be more pick what you need and then get support from me in the way you need it. In other words, as a mentor. So yes, that would be the end result, is that they would, be able to work less hours and be more organized and have more automation so that they can actually show up in the world with their message.
So then who is your client that's going to be signing up for that?
Yeah. So someone that has started their business, they're probably a, entrepreneur. And when I say solopreneur, basically we're talking about someone that's running their own show and maybe they're working with contractors or freelancers, but it's someone like that and it could be a nonprofit, but they just have a lot going on. They're really busy. And so what they need help with is figuring out where are those blind spots, where are there areas where we can improve or optimize things. And then if they have any challenges with messaging or just, getting past those mindset blocks, it's all the regular stuff, but on top of coaching, it's the mentoring and the consulting or advising as well.
Yeah. Do you enjoy working with people one-on-one like this in a mentorship?
100%. I love working with people and really seeing them and hearing them in any conversation that I can have with people. Yes.
So where do you see your business going? Do you see that your business is going to be expanding in this way? Yeah.
So my goal, my current mission is basically to create an inspirational lifestyle brand with a faith-based element that will basically include, podcastings, shows and products and devotionals and all sorts of things. So that's what I'm working on building right now.
Yeah. And I mean, this is like the perfect time to do it, to really build a life that you want to live. And in the old system, many of us were chasing the wheel, being the hamster in the hamster wheel, working, 14-hour days or working 2 jobs or 3 jobs. And nowadays, to really be able to, move and be an entrepreneur, it's not easy to be an entrepreneur, but it's so rewarding because you're the one that is in charge of your life. And you're the one that's going to show up for your business, that's going to show up for what it is that you want to create. And there's so many entrepreneurs out there that are good role models and that are good support people like yourself, right?
Sure. Yeah. And would you like me to share a couple just tips about how I think we can live just a more lovely life?
I would. Yes.
Great. So one project I'm working on is called the Adventure Formula. But basically it's that first of all, I want to say to anyone that's starting something, for instance, with podcasting, a lot of people stop after the first 7 episodes. They give up because like anything we start, it's hard. So I would just say, make a commitment to yourself about what you're committing to. Right. So for me, I knew I'm committing to at least 2 years of doing this before I'd even consider something different. So that's the first thing I just tell people is make a commitment to yourself, because if you look at the likes and the number of users, you're going to feel defeated when you're first starting. So that's the first thing I'd say. But the things I would share with people, because I think we are living in such a time where hope is hard to find sometimes, and respect and love for ourselves and others. So what I would just say to people is, first, think about how are you choosing to spend your time, because a lot of us are so busy and overwhelmed. But if we actually look at our schedules, we find there's actually a lot of free time that we can fit in time for meditating or prayer time with friends. So I'd say that. And then make sure you're speaking your truth. I think most of us have had this happen where we hold things back. I do this too. There's like something I want to say to my husband, but I don't, because I'm like, and eventually I do. But we hold on to too much of that we need to just say. And one of the things with the adventure formula, like I was talking about, is so many of us live lives that are so routine every day, and we wonder why we feel, empty in our souls. But it's because what we need is new experiences. We need new challenges, and we need new adventures. And so that's something I'm big on too, is helping people with that, is how do we tie in these things that really do spark, this interest or light up our soul. And then another thing I would just say is, you need to really date yourself, like know yourself and know what you like. Because if you're never alone, even at a restaurant or go shopping by yourself, you're always going to be informed by other people's opinions or the way they visually look at you. And so I think it's important for us to really understand what it is we like, what it is on our own, we would choose. Would I choose this shirt with a girlfriend? I might not, but by myself, I might say, ooh, I really love it. So, just these things though that ground us and make sure we have time to rest and recharge, because it's so important, especially right now with all the stress and anxiety in the world.
So true. I can resonate so much with what you're saying because I've been podcasting now for the last 5 years. And I remember when I first started, I actually started back in 2012, but I was looking for the right outlets. And so I found different outlets at the time until I ended up finding my permanent one that I've been with now over the last 5 years. And that's Transformation Talk Radio out of Seattle. And I remember when I was getting the inner call to broadcast and, put these beautiful stories out and interview people and tell my story and broadcast the messages. I remember not having resistance around it because of what you said. And that is the commitment.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was the commitment because basically it was like, okay, if I do this now, then that means that I'm going to need to stop hiding.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to need to stop hiding and I'm going to need to regularly show up.
That's right.
Right. And make that commitment because that's, what's important to me. Right. So once I make the choice, it took me a while took me about 6 months before I fully said, yes, I'm all in. And also to be with the right, platform was also important to me. So that we're all walking our talk and that everyone is supporting each other. And that was a really big piece for me too. So, and it's been an amazing journey. The podcasting has changed my life. I've changed lives. We've changed the lives of so many people that, the listeners, and then also people that have been growing their brand that I've helped to grow their brand with podcasting and video marketing. And it's been the best decision that I made.
Absolutely.
Invest in my business and invest in myself.
Yeah. And just in case this inspires any other listeners, I actually bought my podcast microphone 5 years ago. I knew I was going to podcast, but just some things changed with, I had been working for myself. And then, like I said, I took a full-time contract position for a couple of years that I wasn't planning on. It was with an old colleague. But my point is I knew I was going to do it. And yes, maybe I should have gotten started sooner, but the time wasn't right. So, don't give up if you think, oh, I'm going to do it. You'll get there. You just have to, like we said, make a commitment to yourself and then get the help you need. That's the other thing that I think you've probably learned from entrepreneurs too. Get the help and support you need now. Don't wait, because so many of us will tell you where there was slow growth or mistakes. It's because we didn't ask for help or get the support we needed.
And the other thing that you said is don't give up. Because you're going to be, it takes a while. It takes a while to build a following. It takes a while to build a listenership. It takes a while for people to see how committed you are,
right? That
they're going to tune into you because they know that you're going to continuously keep showing up. So that building that relationship takes a while. And I love the tips that you gave. Where can people look you up on social media? Do you have social media handle?
Yeah, I'd say the best place for social is Instagram, and it's just at Kristin Fitch altogether, and it's all eyes. And then my website, KristinFitch.com, and I think you have it in the show notes, but at KristinFitch.com/Kornelia, I have a free download for your audience, just an inspirational encouragement daily prompt sheet and some quotes.
Oh, good. I love that. I love the quotes. We are definitely big on inspiration and daily, practice to shift and change our mind, right?
Absolutely.
To change our heart, to make our lives better. This is what we're all about here with the stories of hope that we share. So the other thing, when you see this segment here live on Facebook, feel free to put some of your links underneath as well. So when people are watching it, that they can have access to the information that you're sharing right there. And then we're also taking this and loading it up to 50 plus media outlets as well in the coming days. So
Awesome.
Kristin, it was wonderful to have you on today. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. I much appreciate it.
Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you, everybody. We're going to see you again real soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Kornelia Stephanie Show. It's an honor and a pleasure to be with you today. We've got stories of hope. We always love sharing these quick stories to ignite that spark within you so that you can make changes in your life that will support you to thrive, right? So my guest today is Lea Satterfield, and her mission is to empower people to be the CEO of their life. Lea has a background in personal finance and worked in the investment regulatory world for over a decade. She saw so often that people were reluctant to make positive changes in their life. So she founded and is the CEO of Empower Company, which offers online financial and well-being courses and coaching. Through Empower's coaching and education, Lea works to give people the confidence and knowledge and resources they need to live their best life. And this is right up our alley. So welcome to the show today, Lea.
Thank you, Kornelia. Thank you so much for having me today.
So awesome. So before we started, we were in the green room and we were talking about what is it that we want to focus on right now. And you said?
I said, I want to talk about couples and finance. My spouse and I, we met almost 10 years ago. It's hard to believe that it was 10 years ago. We've been almost married for 8. And my husband's an accountant and I'm a personal finance person. I studied personal finance and we got engaged and we chose to move in together just before our marriage, before we started getting married, before we actually got married. And we combined our finances at that point. My husband's an accountant. I'm a finance person. So you would think it would have been a breeze for us, but it wasn't. We had to have lots of conversations. There were things about his financial life that he didn't know and I didn't necessarily love. There were probably things about my financial situation that he didn't love as well. And our value systems and our goals for what we wanted to build together. So from that experience, we had to have lots of conversations. We had to build a financial framework that really supported the life that we wanted to build together. And it was tough. It was really hard. And so that experience is something that I'll never forget. We had moved halfway across the country and here I was going, what are we doing? Finance is the number one reason that relationships don't work out. And I was concerned that our relationship might end because of that. Fortunately, we both were committed and we made the time and the effort to get over those hurdles. After working in the regulatory world for a long time, I decided to build a course around our experience to help couples come together around such a emotional and charged discussion around finance.
I think it's brilliant. First of all, that you're coming to talk about this today, because when you were saying that initially when you guys first came together, that your beliefs and your husband's beliefs, with what you guys were believing about your joint financial, partnership now had to be examined and had to be talked about. And you hit the nail on the head with knowing that a lot of relationships fail because of the finances. So this is an important piece. And then too, a lot of women, they have never really earned their power in making the money and even making as much money as men. So there's that. And then the trust issue, right? So there was a lot, I'm sure you had to unpack.
Absolutely. And it's something we're still facing. We're 10 years into this. And just this last weekend, we had to make a really, really serious financial decision that was significant to us. Some people might not have thought that what we had to decide upon was serious, but we did. And we had to have lots of discussions around it. So it's something that we continue to face. But because we've put into our relationship over the last 10 years, we have built that trust and we know that we both have the same goals for our relationship and its long-term success. We also know that we want to be supportive of each other individually, but also as a family. And so having those discussions and having built that rapport over the years and over time has really strengthened our relationship. And it's really my goal to help other people come together around this topic and have it be a success in their relationship. Because unfortunately, it's not money that tears people apart. It's having differences in how they use that one tool within their life. And so if I can do one thing to help others, it's really help them come together and use money as a tool in their toolbox and not let it define their life or their relationship.
Yeah. So you were already a financial guru, right? But when you met your husband, so like, did you have to get your husband on your page I'm just curious.
Yeah. So about us personally, so he had debt. He had lots of student loan debt. He had credit card debt. He had one credit card that I had no idea even existed, and it had debt on it. I had no student loan debt. I had no debt to my name except for a car payment for a small amount of time. And I came from a background where all debt is bad, and that framework, let me tell you, is not necessarily correct. My framework had to change as well.
Yeah.
It wasn't all about me and what I believed, and his perspectives were valid. And it was having conversations and understanding each other's perspective, because our different backgrounds really, we had different backgrounds. He had to have student loans in order to go to college and to get into the profession that he wanted to get into. And having respect and understanding for his life situations and what he learned was a key component to my own growth. So it was a give and take on both sides. It wasn't just me telling him all debt is bad. In fact, we still have debt to this day. However, we're paying it down, and we've been strategic about the debt that we do have. So, it's interesting that two people who have financial knowledge could have very different backgrounds and both learn from each other through communicating about money.
Right. Yeah. Normally, like, I've been, with many entrepreneurs, women, and normally the reversal, it's switched where, the man is the financial advisor, not the woman. So I'm just noticing that's a different thing, but certainly can relate to, the whole thing about debt and, our conditioning and what we've been taught. And, like being an entrepreneur, sometimes we have to take risks. We have to take financial risks in order to expand, in order to grow. And that, that is taking a risk, and that's creating debt. And, but again, it's like you said, having a strategy on how to pay that debt down, that's an important piece. And also having those discussions in communication with your beloved, with your partner, with your, marriage, the person that you're married to, with your husband or wife, so that you guys can come together in a supportive way instead of dividing, so that you guys can work on a common goal. And that is to ultimately be financially independent, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I think for most people, the goal is to build wealth, and there's a lot of different ways to do that. And to come together around, okay, what are the most important goals? You look at building assets and paying down debt at the same time, and just having an overall strategy for that you both are supportive of. And something that I talk about in my coaching a lot is we can't wait until we're in our older years, until we have all of our debt paid down, until we're retired to live our lives. We have to enjoy our lives today and enjoy them going forward. And that's why we incorporate a lot of positive psychology into the work that we do, because we can't wait to travel. We can't wait to do these things if they're important to us until a later date. So it's building a financial framework that can support the couple's goals and having strategies for how we tackle those things. And you're so right that sometimes there's a balance of power issue within relationships. And that's something that we certainly go into within our course, about how we all need to have our own power and our own ability to really ask for the things that we need.
Yeah. I think the main thing is, coming in to know, like you said, your husband, he had the student loans and the conditioning. We all had our own conditioning growing up. And so there's that. There's just a lot of things that need to be taken into consideration. And if we can come to the table with like, what's our common goal, like you said, and then have those discussions. But that's why people need mediators, they need coaches, they need support. And I think having a course available to where couples can look at it together and say, let's learn this, let's look at this together, I think is an important piece. Do you want to talk a little bit about your course, about
Yes.
what is your course about, and how can people find out about it?
Yeah, so my course is called Empowered Couple, and it's all about bringing couples together around finances. So it's a way to help couples have discussions. It gives them a framework and a strategy for asking each other important questions to understand each other's values and goals around finance and life in general, because we may have goals to do certain things in our lives or be a certain type of person, but we need to have the ability to support each other, whether it be monetarily or just through cheering each other on. So the course really helps people have conversations to really figure out what their value system is as a couple and as individuals. And it also gives people a framework for really building out a financial system that supports those goals and values. So we give a tool that lets people look at their cash flow and just see how they're using their money to reach their goals. And it allows them to figure out how to pay themselves first and look at the opportunity costs of doing certain things first or doing other things first, and really looking at what feels good to them. So often I think in the financial world, we say, you have to do A, B, and C, and you have to do A, B, and C in that order to find financial success. And I think that's flawed. I think we're all individuals, and we, as a couple, every couple is certainly different from another couple. And so the education is about helping couples figure out what works and what matters to them, and implementing strategies and techniques to build their financial life in the order that they want to build it in. So that's what the course is about. It's 5 chapters of information, and it goes over 90 days. So people can work through the course at their own speed. And I love it because there's a lot of information in the course, but I also coach people through the courses. So it's not here, throw this information at you and do with it as you will. It's how is this course supporting you and your goals? And how can I keep you engaged in the material and implementing these strategies into your life? So that's what the course is about. It's called Empowered Couple, and we offer it through Empower Co.
Oh, good. And how do they, where is it parked? How do people look it up?
Yeah, so our website is empowerco.com, the letter M, word power, co.com, and there's a courses page on our website. We also offer another 3 other courses in the financial and positive psychology sphere. So if Empowered Couple isn't what's right for somebody listening to this today, we have a retirement course, we have an estate planning course, and we also have a solely positive psychology course, which is all about the science of living a happier life and increasing your well-being. So we have a wide variety of resources for people, and there are free downloads and other tools that people can use from our website.
That's so good. When people are seeing this on Facebook right now, later when you go there, could you put your links underneath that video, because
Absolutely.
so that people can click on that, on the resources? Did you know that in the e-course learning over in the next year, that is generated to bring in $350 billion of learning, because people are learning online? So it's so good that you've created these courses and that you're educating people and helping people with, living the lifestyle that they want to live, out of debt, financially free, retire early, have beautiful conversations, right? I mean, that's what it's all about. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
I love that the industry for online education is growing. And I think it's so important that people know that, we're here to provide information and knowledge that people need. I think the saying that my mom often uses is, we're drowning in information but starved for knowledge. And we've taken it upon ourselves to filter through all of the financial information, all of the research and best practices in the field, to give people what they really need to know, because we're all limited on time, and we only have, especially if we're busy with other things, finance is only a a single part of what we're doing here. And so we really try to filter the knowledge in our courses down to what people really need to know. So it's not overwhelming and it's actually easily implemented into life. We're not here to, some people think you might have to overhaul your whole life, but we would argue there's lots of small steps that can make your life a lot better if you implement them now and in the coming days. So that's what we're about.
Yeah. So empower yourself. Don't wait. And take action now. This is a perfect time this year, 2022, to, shift the narrative, shift the story that you came here to live and experience greater things. And debt isn't one of them. So thank you, Lea Satterfield, for coming on today and for sharing with our audience on how to, change their financial reality. So thank you. And thank you everybody for listening and tuning in. And we'll see you again next time. Take care, everyone. Bye. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Kornelia Stephanie Show. It's an honor and a pleasure. We have the Stories of Hope. We have another beautiful segment with our gorgeous guest today, Purvi Kay. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Kornelia. Thank you for having me.
It's good to have you. I want to let the audience know a little bit about your background. You are a qualified aerospace engineer with a 14-year career in UK civil service. You're a mom of 2 little boys and founder of Dasi Coaching, a career coaching business that you've created to live your dream life. You're now on a quest to help others achieve high achieving professionals realize their full potential and progress their careers on their own terms so that they can feel empowered in their life and thrive. You know what's possible because you've done this for yourself. You moving from the UK, from a developing country, you overcame several adversities to achieve your dream life. Your experience, your insights, and your learning from your own extraordinary journey puts you in a good state to help others land their dream careers. And we're going to talk about that today so that people can say yes to living the life of their dreams. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. And thank you for the warm welcome.
Yes. Where are you living now?
So I'm in the UK, just outside London. But originally I'm from Kenya, in East Africa.
Okay. And so how did you get started in, so you were an aerospace engineer and then you changed your life and you started a coaching company.
So the coaching company has just been going on for a year, but it's my journey to become aerospace engineer where that was my dream from when I was a 14-year-old in Kenya. A lot of people hadn't even heard of aerospace engineering there, let alone having an opportunity to study it. So it's the journey of how I made it to getting graduated, coming from a country like that where, the opportunities were really scarce. I had to actually even pay for my own education. That's what everybody does there. And for my story, up until like the age of 12, 13, everything was fine. My father had a business and, my school fees were being paid for. But suddenly he had a medical issue and he lost his business, which meant I had 2 choices, to give up my education and my dream, or to actually go find work myself, which would then help me fund my school fees. And in Kenya, you don't really hear people from a working class, young children from a working class family actually going to work for their school fees. That's very unusual. So I did that, and with that, I managed to get through my schooling, and I had to go to a British school because I wanted to come to a British university, and it's very expensive there. So I managed to get all that done, and I used to work during the holidays and during the weekends, and then go to school during the term time. So I had to basically, I didn't have a childhood. I had to grow up very quickly. And I managed to get to the UK with my family at the age of 19. And that was a culture shock, to say the least, because it was a completely different environment. And I managed again within the environment. I got knocked back again. I couldn't start university for another 3 years, so I had to do something in that time. And I made good use of that time and managed to get through university, 5 years of university, and I finally graduated and I became an aerospace engineer. Mm-hmm. I have been working in the with the UK government for the last 14 years. As a senior leader. I'm now a senior leader in cybersecurity with the UK government. And, you know, I reached 40 and I had my 2 kids and all that. And I thought, right, what next? And as reflecting back on life, I thought what I want to do is give back, and I want to help other people that probably are in the position that I was a few years back. I didn't have anybody guiding me or telling me what I need to do, and I wanted to be there for those people. So I set up my coaching business, Darcy Coaching, and now I help high achieving professionals get unstuck from their careers and go and find that dream career so they can build that dream life for themselves.
Yes. So, wow, that's quite a story. You know, you said that you had to grow up very fast from the time that you were a little girl, so that you didn't have a childhood. So that really touched me. So, because I can relate to that myself, that I didn't have a childhood either. And I know that at some point in time, we have to get our emotional needs met, because if we didn't get them met as a child, we didn't get our nurturing and our love as a child, it needs to, at some point in time, that's going to need to be addressed in our life, right? So would you say that your, you know, the time where it didn't work out with the university, and like you had the setbacks, that you had this setback and you had this setback, do you feel like these setbacks were all supporting you to, you know, listen to your own inner child now and get your needs met in that way, and start your coaching and do healing on your own inner healing? Is that what happened?
The way I've done my inner healing with terms of losing my childhood is I've looked at the positives of all the setbacks. The fact that I couldn't go to university for 3 years when I moved here meant that I needed to do something else, and that something else was an engineering apprenticeship, and that's where I found my now husband. So if I didn't have that setback, I wouldn't be with the love of my life right now. So there's that positive story there. And in terms of actually living my childhood, again, my children are helping me do that. You know, I am either a parrot or Spider-Man or Batman one day. And I'm living my childhood through my children now.
Oh, yeah, that's so good. And so basically you're living your dream life because you are, first of all, doing what it is that you love, based on what it is that you decided to do. You achieved your dream life already before, when you were working for the government as an aerospace engineer, and you already achieved that. And when you said, what's next? Then you developed your coaching company, you became a mom, married the love of your life, and here you are today helping others.
Absolutely. And what the message here is, you know, where I've come from, you know, this, if somebody told me as a teenager that this is the position I'd be in my 40s, I would have laughed at them. I would have not believed it. And what I've learned through my journey, the insights, the mentors I've had, the guides I've had, what they've taught me have been it's brought so much value to my life. And that's what I want to share with others. Even the mistakes I've made along the way and the lessons I've learned from that, I want to share with others, because that will give them a head start towards their dream life. And that's what I wanted to say to them, that no matter what adversity comes your way, if you really believe it, you will be able to overcome them and get to your dream life. Nothing's impossible. The job I do is in a very male-dominated environment, and it's a very male-dominated field. And also, I'm a minority. Coming from an Asian background in the UK, I'm a minority. And people often ask me, how did you get to the senior position you have? And this is what I say to people. It does not matter, you know, what color, race, or, you know, or gender you are. It's all about your ambition and your belief in yourself and your mindset. And with all that, you can get there.
Yes, that's really powerful. It doesn't matter. The bottom line is that you have to want it for yourself. You have to desire it from deep within your being, that you want to make a change in your life. And then and then everything, the universe opens itself up to you and starts organizing itself so that the new experiences can be lined up based on your inner courage that you're taking by saying yes, right?
Yes, absolutely. And not only just, it's all about believing as well that you'll get there. And I'm really a strong believer about your thoughts become things. So it's how you think as well. I visualized myself on the stage getting my degree, and my loved ones are there watching me, and that's exactly what happened. 5 years of university. After 5 years of university, I have visualized myself as a senior person within the UK government, and I am in that position. This year, I visualized our dream home for ourselves, and we've just bought our dream home. And this year, I visualized a job in the private sector because I wanted to transition from government to private sector, and I've just been offered a position with a FTSE 100 company. So you need to really believe and see yourself in that position, and it will happen.
That's wonderful. So how do you've just been offered a position, how do you, and you have your coaching, are you still doing coaching as well with people?
Yeah, absolutely. I have my full-time job career in the UK government. I'm also, a parent, so I've got that busy lifestyle, and I also got my career coaching business.
And you must have a good team of people around you supporting you in order to do the things that you're doing. Do you have that? Do you have like good people supporting you, surrounding you?
So apart from my family and friends, I don't have a team.
Oh.
The business and all that, I do all by myself. The parenting, I've got a wonderful, very supportive husband, and I've got really, really good family and friends who keep me grounded. That's what they're there for, to keep me grounded.
That's good. We definitely need the grounding. Well, it sounds like you're a dream maker for sure, making your dreams come true. It's really, really inspiring. Congratulations on your dream home. So what's next for you this year? What's your goal? What's your vision for this year?
So now last year I set up, most of my time was spent in building the foundation for my business, and this year I really want to start building the business and bringing in, more ways of helping other people. So although I'm doing career coaching, a lot of people are coming to me, especially moms who don't want to go back to work after maternity leave and want to start their own business because they've got passion for something. They're coming to me asking me, how have you done it? So I want to segue into business coaching and helping other sort of female entrepreneurs who want to start something and turn a passion into purpose. So that's kind of what I want to do. So I'll be helping people with their careers and also with their business. And what I say to them is, you don't have to compromise on one to have another. You can have all three, a career, business, and parenthood, and you can thrive in all of it. You just need to have the right mindset, the right tools, and the right support with you.
Wow, that's a powerful model. That's a powerful role model you're being, with what it is that you're living, and also with what it is that you're saying to the public right now, and to exactly the people that need to hear it. How can people look you up and find out more about how to get in contact with you?
So I am on Instagram and I'm on Facebook, and if they just look for me under Darcy Coaching, that's DAASI Coaching, then they'll find me on Instagram and on Facebook. And I'm also on LinkedIn as Purvi Kay.
Purvi Kay, yeah. So what does DASI mean? There's a reason why it's called a DASI Coaching.
Dasi, yeah. So in the Indian language, a dasi is somebody who serves others, and particularly it's a female person who serves others. So dasi actually represents me, who is one female who wants to serve the world, and turn, with my passion, I want to serve others. But the reason for the name Dasi is because it has my father's name in it. I lost my father about 10 years ago, and he was a man of service. He helped anybody and everybody that he could, no matter what his situation. And I felt I lost my father prematurely, and so it's a way of me dealing with that by bringing him along into my life and my journey, and keeping his legacy alive. So my father's name is Tulsi Das, but fondly his friends and family used to call him Das. So Das and Dasi have got that, it's a lot of significance to my father, to who I am, and to what my business is doing, which is serving others and keeping my father's legacy alive.
Yes, that's amen. Amen. That's beautiful. Beautiful. I'm so glad I asked that question. What does it mean? It's a beautiful, honoring of your father and keeping the legacy alive. Thank you so much, Purvi Kay, for coming on and for inspiring us with your beautiful dream life. And also, we look forward to seeing you again in the future and wish you so well.
Thank you so much, Kornelia, and to everybody here listening as well. Go for your dreams. They will come true.
Yes. Thank you so much. Awesome. Thank you. Take care, everyone. Ciao.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to the Kornelia Stephanie Show, Wake Up to Love, your call to action. Tune in each week on Transformation Talk Radio. Kornelia's joy is to engage others in practical ways, showing us how to live in the new earth in harmony with our true nature. For more information on Kornelia and her extraordinary work, or to listen to past shows, go to her website at korneliastephanie.com.